What's up, everybody? We have got to talk about Captain Marvel as she relates to Avengers 4, but also the future of the MCU. More and more photos are coming out from the film concept art for Avengers 4. There were some comments made by Brie Larson and Kevin Feige, and there is a big concern out there about this character playing a major role in the MCU moving forward. So in this video, I want to sort of put some of that stuff to bed, clarify some statements that have been made out there, and talk about what I think Captain Marvel will be bringing to the table in her own movie, in Avengers 4, and in the future of the MCU. What's up, everybody? I am, of course, Josh. This is the Den of Nerds, and if you love the Marvel movies the way I do, subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be cranking out a ton of content on the way to Avengers 4. So let's get right into this. Captain Marvel, she's obviously a huge part of what is going to be happening in Avengers 4 and in the future of the MCU. I mean, this was clarified by her post-credit scene. We've been hearing a lot of stuff about this character even before Infinity War came out. Statements that she will be the most powerful character the MCU has ever seen. Statements saying that she will be a leader of the MCU moving forward. And a lot of these things come with a lot of trepidation from fans. I mean, she's a super big deal, and the fact that she is the first female-led Marvel and MCU movie is, I think, huge, and it can't be understated. But with that comes this sort of fear that they might SJW this character, that they might inflict a bunch of identity politics into this character. And although that's not a personal concern for me, I do want to speak to that concern and talk to the people out there that are worried about this. I mean, this is something that did happen in Marvel Comics. This is something that was sort of tricky for me. I had originally talked a lot about these problems that Marvel was having, and then I sort of stayed away from those issues because for a long time I was working in comics, and it was a little bit awkward because I knew some of the people that these stories were about. And suffice it to say, I'm more like freelance, really indie at this point, so I can talk about those issues a little bit more freely now. And it was definitely a problem that Marvel Comics had. There is a similar thing going on with Star Wars right now, and though I think the media is much to blame for these problems, and I don't really think the identity politics are in there too much, you have to understand that the current state of things causes a lot of concern for people. When you have your first female-led hero, and she's going to be stronger than any hero we've ever seen, and she's going to be a leader in the MCU moving forward, and then you get all these articles and reports saying that Kevin Feige came out and said that eventually there will be more female characters in the MCU than male characters. Now, I'm gonna talk about that statement in a little bit and clarify that, but I'm just telling you guys right now, I don't think there's anything to be concerned about when it comes to the Captain Marvel character. Let's get into this a little bit more. Let's dig a little bit deeper here. Let's get to the nitty-gritty. So, if you take what those Kevin Feige comments actually were, you read the whole statement, look at it in context, he's very careful to talk about how they're just heroes. He's just viewing them as heroes. So he's trying to sort of put it out there right away that he wants people to think of the MCU characters and the MCU heroes as just heroes. He doesn't want to have this tallying going up of male and female. And at the same time, I think that Kevin wants to respect the question. There's obviously a lot of people out there that are excited to get a female-led superhero movie from Marvel, and that's totally fine. Like, I love the Wonder Woman movie. Does it have its flaws? Absolutely. But do I think it's a great movie and great for empowering young women? Totally. Absolutely. And by the way, it's a love story too, so I think that it's perfectly acceptable. You know, it has some kind of conservative ideas in there, so I think it's just a really passable kind of lesson, a passable kind of film that can still empower women and not sort of shove identity politics or postmodern beliefs down people's throats. And so please, like, don't just read articles out there that have the headline, oh, Feige says this, oh, they're gonna SJW up the MCU. Because the bottom line here, and this is what really sucks, is that media, and this includes YouTubers, this includes people writing articles, this includes like Screen Rant, Nerdist, all these different people, they want clicks way more than they want to actually tell the truth. And so you can pick apart what Kevin said, you can isolate one little statement, put it out there, and you know people will click on it because of the politically charged environment that we live in. I almost feel bad for Feige and the MCU because it's not a bad thing to want to do a female-led movie. Like, it's not bad, and it's not bad to want to have strong and complex female characters, but the way that will be read through the lens and the way it will be reported on in the media tends to feel really messed up at this point. So I can totally see why people are concerned, but once again, I'm not concerned. So let's talk a little bit more about the film. I mean, first of all, can we just say that we have to give Marvel the benefit of the doubt? I mean, they have delivered hit after hit after hit. They have given us great fan service, complex characters, tragedies, if you look at Infinity War, that really broke us, but were necessary to put more weight and more emotional resonance into these films. I mean, they're just the best at what they do. That's a Marvel reference. Wolverine says that. Did anybody catch that? And so I think that the number one reason why you shouldn't be concerned is because that movie's going to be dope. Fight! You've got a young Sam Jackson. You've got the Carol Danvers character, who is a flawed character. She struggles with alcoholism, so I'm hoping that they put like a version of that into the film. You've got the Kree and the Skrull, and I mean, like, how as a big Marvel fan can you not just be ecstatic that we are finally going to be getting more of the Kree and the Skrull for the first time ever in the film? I mean, look, there is so much that's going to make this movie absolutely amazing, and so it is so weird to judge this character and to judge what they're going to do with this character's solo film before it comes out. Now, when it comes to the concerns about her being overly powerful, I don't share those concerns. I think they're going to make her incredibly strong, but incredibly flawed. I remember hearing a quote that the Russo brothers said, where they were talking about the character, and they said, yes, well, you know, if a character's really strong, we have to find out what their flaw is, what their weaknesses are, because all of these characters have to be relatable. That's sort of the Marvel formula. I mean, Peter Parker's greatest weakness is poverty. Iron Man had his own struggles with alcoholism. He struggles with his ego. You know what I mean? Like, all sorts of stuff like that. So it's realistic, relatable characters. That is what has made Marvel so good for so long. And I think we're just going to get a continuation of that in this next film. So will she be incredibly strong? I think absolutely. But I think that will cause its own sort of problems, you know? Think of like the Superman effect, where like he has to live sort of very cautiously. He can't really experience life the same way other people do. Once I heard it said by him that it's as though Superman is walking around in a cardboard world, very afraid that he'll just hurt someone, damage someone. So maybe Carol has some of that going on, and that would be very interesting. But whatever it is, I promise you, this is going to be a flawed female character that is compelling, that is interesting, and that, yeah, is incredibly strong. And it's always been this way too, you know what I mean? Like, you always have characters. You have Hawkeye, you have Black Widow, and then you've got characters like Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange. You have all sorts of characters with all sorts of different power levels. That's just the reality of what happens in Marvel. And I don't know exactly what the plans are in the future of the MCU with Captain Marvel, but like, I'm all for having a really powerful character like that in the MCU. So this just sets the stage for other characters like Hyperion, like Molecule Man, like Doctor Doom. And I think that you introduce Carol and then you start upping the ante, bringing in even more and more powerful characters. And I think that that's really what we want, right? Like, how can we improve upon the first three phases? Where do we go from here in this diegetic universe? I think there's a lot more powerful characters, a lot more powerful villains to come to the table. But it's interesting that the way the MCU has transpired thus far, that there are characters like Ant-Man and there are characters like Hawkeye and Black Widow that all play significant roles and help these powerhouse characters figure it out. It's like chess, man. You have to have pawns, you have to have knights, you have to have the king, you have to have the queen. So it's a filling out of the roles that you will see in the Avengers or the Ultimates or whatever direction they go from here. But having said all of that, I want to open up the question to you. What do you think about the Carol Danvers character? Are you concerned that they're going to like SJW this up, that they're going to be disingenuous and that her being the most powerful character is going to cause problems? Are you not concerned at all? Do you put your faith in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Whatever your thoughts are about this, please let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys and start a conversation about Captain Marvel in Avengers. Avengers 4. Before we get out of here, I want to shout out George Macklis, who got the nerd card question correct in my most recent Halo live action series video. By the way, Google hated that video, so nobody's watching it, but if you're interested, go check that video out. I'll annotate it right now. But yeah, George, you definitely know your stuff when it comes to Halo, so shout out to you. And we're going to do another nerd card question right now. And the question is, what is the name of the ancient Kree being that houses all of their collective memories over time? Yeah, that's right. There's this big brainy being that the Kree have that is basically like a catalog of all of their memories over time. It shows them the way.
You don't know the way.
It's a very important thing to the Kree and their culture. And I want to know, what is the name of that being? Answer that question in the comment section below. You can click below to watch more dope videos. You can click our icon to subscribe to get all of our future content. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and nerdy day, and I will see you in the next video. This allows us to introduce characters like Hyperion, like the Spectre. Sorry, not the Spectre. But this, I'm going to retake that, but God damn it, what's that character? They're so cool and I can't think of it.